Coming up on the Sports Desk. Last week we wrapped up the regular season for fall sports, so guess what? Playoff time, obviously. Two teams are going to live to die another day or live to chase a CIF title, but which two are they, and who does that leave packing their bags? One of those teams with the first round win, proving once you get into the playoffs, it's a whole new season. Plus, Torrance took 3 girls volleyball squads to CIF play. One of them suffers a heartbreaking exit after one of the best regular seasons in school history. All that coming up and more right now on the Sports Desk. Hey there, Torrance. I'm Wan Hernandez. Welcome to another week on the Sports Desk. Like I just said, it's playoff time, so why waste another minute? Let's just jump right into it. So, raise your hand if you caught the buzz over North's offense this year. Not exactly breaking news at this point, right? They throw the ball a lot, they score a ton of points. Mike Gerardo's really good. We get it, Juan, but the strength of the Saxons offense is something that was never in doubt, whereas to start the season, depth on defense seemed to be a question mark that could make or break the team's 2012 campaign. And if you caught the Pioneer League clinching season finale shutout against Torrance High, it was obvious that question mark turned into a giant exclamation point heading into the CIF playoffs. Brittany Johnson has the highlights on their first round game.
The weather wasn't the only thing that was cold outside. So was the Saxons offense in the beginning of Game 1 for the playoffs. Saxons fumbled the ball early on the opening drive, and the Eagles would get the recovery. But their defense was certainly heating things up all night. They were making tackle after tackle and just playing some good old defense to force an incomplete pass. Senior QB George Hernandez finds wide receiver Devontae Jenkins on the right side of the field. He'll be down at the 11-yard line. On the next play, Hernandez is able to get it right in the hands of Adrian Kuklazier for the 11-yard TD. Saxons take the lead 7-0. Second quarter, and the Saxons D is putting in work, and inside linebacker Gunnar Ingen gets the sack. The Saxons D comes up big again, and the Eagles with a loss of 11 on the play. Zach Barrett with the 15-yard TD to give the Saxons a 13-0 lead. Here in the fourth, the Eagles are still scoreless and the Saxons cause a turnover on downs. Going the other way, George hands it off to TJ Young for the 14-yard TD. The kick is good and the Saxons up 20. With Mikey out the game tonight, the Eagles have double and triple teamed Devontae Jenkins, but he makes them pay with this interception. Into the fourth quarter, George fakes the handoff and he'll run this one in for himself. Saxons going to win it 27-0. And even though North's defense did dominate the game, they're not taking all the credit.
No, George does a great job. They put up numbers, him and Mikey and Devontae, and we just come do our job and we know he'll do his. Oh, there's always room for improvement. Missed tackles, there's a few missed assignments. They ran like a reverse. They got by our D end, and it's just stuff we need to work on. So always time to get better.
The Saxons were a bit nervous coming into tonight's playoff game, and they were without one of their star players, Mikey Gerardo. But after tonight's shutout, they're feeling really confident and ready to hit the road for the second round of playoffs. Reporting for the Sports Desk, I'm Brittany Johnson.
So Mikey Gerardo sits on the sidelines for all but 2 plays, resting a grade 1 medial collateral ligament tear. George Hernandez puts his air attack kinda on standby with a solid but modest 152 yards passing and 2 TDs. One of those, his 50th touchdown pass of the season. It's like this dude's playing Madden against his little brother or something. North Saxons not slowing down for anybody. They get their first postseason win since 2005. North holds Oak Park to 68 rushing yards and 35 passing yards. They hang their 3rd shutout of the season. Next up for the Saxons, a second-round game against Gladstone. On the flip side of the regular season, the South Spartans took us on a roller coaster schedule. 2 wins to open up the year turned into a 4-4 record when they met rival North, winding down the regular season. Coming within a touchdown of upsetting the eventual league champs, then falling to El Segundo on senior night to close it all out. Nobody would have been surprised if the 4-6 Spartans just didn't get a postseason invitation. But then not only did South get that postseason berth, but they were awarded a first-round home game against the top seed in the Northwest Division. Go figure. So Aaron Giddens headed out to South High to bring you those highlights.
It's the first round of the CIF playoffs as the South Torrance Spartans take on the Bishop Diego Cardinals. There's a lot of excitement here at South High School, so let's check out some of the highlights. Going into the game, the 4 and 6 Spartans were looking to defeat the top-seeded Bishop Diego Cardinals from Santa Barbara. First quarter, South defense looked sharp as it forced Bishop to fumble, Spartans with the recovery. First and 10 for the Spartans, quarterback Kyle Nesby connects with tight end Justin Mino, who takes it to the 9-yard line. A couple plays later, South will kick a field goal to put them up 3-0. Later in the first, Bishop Diego's Justin Brosnan responds with a 1-yard TD run. Second quarter, 2nd and 5 for Bishop Diego. Tough defense by the Spartans forced the Cardinals back to the 21-yard line. Bishop would settle for a field goal, putting them up 7. South with the ball, and miscommunication gives the ball right back to the Cardinals. Few plays later, 2nd and goal, Brosnan runs in another TD for Bishop Diego. Spartans trying to make something happen before the half with Nesby connecting to Carl Camero at the 50. But B.J. Murillo will run this pick back for 6, giving the Cardinals a 23-3 lead at the half. Fast forward to the third quarter, Spartans looking for a comeback with this complete pass to Camero inside the 5. 2nd and goal, Nesby will run it in himself for a 3-yard TD. Bishop Diego would come back with another touchdown, putting the score 30-9 end of the third. Not long after a field goal early in the fourth, the Cardinals would score a 27-yard touchdown, ending the score at 43-9. The Bishop Diego Cardinals will move to the second round of the CIF playoffs, and the Spartans will get an early start to prepare for next season. At South High School, I'm Aaron Giddens for the Sports Desk.
Thanks for that, Aaron. So Bishop Diego rolls through town, taking down South. Last year, South staged a massive first-round upset against the top seed in their playoff bracket. This time, just not in the works. That'll close the books on South's season, but as you'll learn later today, still plenty of Spartan postseason action going on around campus. We'll get that for you later. But first, when we come back, remember all 5 Torrance football teams are in playoff berths. That means we still got some highlights for you. So stick around because somebody hit the reset button when the clock struck postseason. Looking dangerous now that it's win or go home the rest of the way.
Some dogs fetch and roll over. Some dogs take you to Spain and shopping for refrigerators. Help you get through grad school, start your own business, go on hikes in the Grand Canyon. Some dogs you trust with your life every day. Being partners with a guide dog is having the freedom to do what you want in life. Nothing more, nothing less. And with your help, nothing need ever change that. Call 1-888-884-DOGS or visit guidedogs.com.
You could choose to join a gang. You could try the latest drugs. You could even choose to drop out of school. You can try to avoid the difficulties in life with a quick fix, or you can face them head on. She did. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
The strongest families are built one moment at a time. For more ways to make every day count, visit facebook.com/makeeverydaycount.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Desk. Just like the South Spartans, the West Warriors were a team that ran through some bumps and bruises along the way to surviving this fall. When their red-hot 5-0 start turned into an 0-3 record in the tough Bay League, the Warriors' focus simply became earning a shot to play in the postseason with an at-large bid. That wish was granted, and all of a sudden a team that was struggling to keep up with the Bay League looks like the same squad that steamrolled through September. West set up against the number 4 seed St. Joseph and pulls off the first round upset in convincing fashion. No flukes here, the Warriors may be a wild card team, but they are the real deal now on a 3-game win streak. In those 3 games, West outscored their opponents 151-33. Barry Thomas pumps out 166 yards and 4 TDs. QB Joey Notch with an equally impressive night. He gets 272 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Then, dude runs for 75 yards of his own. Next up for West, hosting Mira Costa in the second round. Huge matchup here. The Mustangs were the first team to beat West this season back in the beginning of October. The 2 teams combined for over 100 points on the scoreboard in the 62-42 regular season Costa win. Costa's veer offense and West's high-paced spread offense likely to make it another shootout. Only difference this time, the Warriors have had a look at that offense that gave them fits last time around. And West, well, they've been playing do-or-die football for an entire month now. Not in the business of making predictions, everybody, but West pulling off another upset win in this one, well within reach, having that earlier head-to-head look at the Mustangs under their belt. The Tartars, on the other hand, not so fortunate in their first round game against Whittier Christian. The Tartars pile up 515 yards of offense. They jump out to a 14-3 lead by sticking to their running game as usual, but 21 unanswered points by Whittier puts the Tartars behind the 8 ball. Jacob Kalama throws for 210 yards and a touchdown with his team playing catch-up in the second half. It wasn't quite enough as Torrance falls 38-28. And of course, all that leaves us with one more Torrance team looking to make a postseason run, the Bishop Montgomery Knights. With that highlight, we're going to welcome the newest addition to the Sports Desk, reporter Letitia Cahey, who's going to show us what the Knights have on tap beyond 2012.
There's nothing but heartbreak here tonight for the home team as Bishop Montgomery took a tough loss to Christian Village. Bishop Montgomery came into tonight's first-round playoff game with a 7-2 record under Coach Ed Hodgkiss. Coach Hodgkiss said he was not disappointed with the loss. Instead, he's looking forward to rebuilding to next year.
Well, whenever your season ends, I thank the seniors. We have a great group of seniors. They had a great year, and you talk about the underclassmen and moving forward. So, we'll kind of go home and take the weekend off and meet again on Tuesday. It starts in the weight room. It's a long way away, but as always, we got to get bigger and stronger. And we had a great commitment last year. That's why we were able to come out and have a good season this season. And it's got to take it one step further. We're really young, so we're looking for those kids to grow and take the next step in our program.
One of those seniors being Michael Turner, who left the game with a knee injury, but before his early exit off the fake punt, he carries the ball 37 yards. And that would set up who other than Robbie Hu for an 11-yard touchdown run that would tie the game at 7-all with 47 seconds left in the first quarter. With the running back tandem weekend, Hu had to do what he does better in the second. Hu gets the handoff and takes it to the house, a 51-yard touchdown, putting the Knights up 14-7. In the second half, the Crusaders capitalized on turnovers. Robert Rogers fumbles the kickoff, and Isaiah Crane is there to scoop it up. Crusaders take over in good field position. Then, on 1st and goal, John Amadeo gets the handoff and powers his way in for the touchdown. Village Christian takes the lead, 21-14. Then keep an eye on Isaiah Crane as he's in on the action again, intercepts Luis Soto's pass off the bobble, giving the Crusaders the ball on the Knights' 33-yard line. Later in the drive, Amadeo takes the toss and runs over defenders to find the end zone. Crusaders 28, Knights 14, and Coach Hodgkiss praised the efforts of Amadeo.
He's a good player. He's a hard runner, and their offensive line did a great job for him, and they're a good team. The difference was, I think the turnovers in the second half. They scored 14 points and we only had the ball for 1 down, so that kind of changed the momentum, got us out of our game, and it was able to give them an opportunity to just run the ball.
The Knights haven't had a playoff win since 1983, and they wouldn't be able to break that streak as they fought a Village Christian 38-21.
Thanks for that, Letitia. The Knights close it out, still looking for that first playoff win, almost 30 years now. Hate to feed you generic coach speak, but turnovers always affect the outcome of the game, and that's definitely the story in this one. 2 turnovers in the third quarter flip that halftime lead into a first-round exit. Coach Hodgkiss, he's been with the Knights for 3 full seasons now. He's clearly turned around what used to be the bottom feeder of the Delray League, so definitely looking forward to seeing how deep next season's squad can go. All right, coming up, we've got three teams on the volleyball courts making some CIF noise, 2 of them with the highest playoff seeds you can get, but only one will live to see it to the semis. Find out who when we come back.
How far would you go to help someone? Would you go to the end of your driveway? Would you cross a street? Would you cross an ocean? To a place 6,000 miles from home? And how long would you go? Would you go for a week? A month? A year? Would you go for 2 years? Would you go if you could use your knowledge to teach someone, and in the process, maybe learn something yourself?
Savings Man here with a story for you about 2 young spenders named Tommy and Sue. Their parents let them buy whatever they chose, like video games and designer clothes. As they grew older, they spent all their pay on fancy cars, houses, 2 lattes a day. They lived in the moment, never saving a dime. When they tried to retire, they'd run out of time. Working forever is Tom and Sue's fate, so choose to save now before it's too late. Visit our website to find out more, 'cause a happy ending's worth saving for.
Hey there, welcome back to the Sports Desk. One last time this week, it's time to move on over to the volleyball court where both South and North flat out killed it this year. Saxons served up a win in their home tourney back in September over a solid Bishop Montgomery squad. Then, came back the very next week, beat Bishop again in the Knights Gymnasium. All that before starting league play where the Saxons just simply beat their biggest rival for the first time in 5 years and then earned a top seed in the Division II AA playoffs. Bishop? Sure, they took those early season lumps against North, but when you've got an outside hitter your coach declares the best player on either side of the net every game, no matter who you're playing, even after moving up a division, you can imagine you're going to win some games with that weapon in your court. Led by Bria Green and seeing middle blocker Ashley Murray return from a stress fracture in her shin that put her on the sideline for almost 2 months, the Knights have plenty of reason to be confident rolling through the CIF playoffs. And of course, there's always South. Perennial powerhouse, the Spartans somehow end up with the Pioneer League crown almost every year. At least it seems like that. They started this season the top-ranked team in their division, even with a retooling roster. Then, after a win-one, lose-one routine through the first month of the season, South simply jumped on their horse and blasted through everybody en route to a second seed in this year's postseason tournament. Only team in front of them? North High. Only in Torrance, right? Well, top-seeded North falls in a stunner at home against Riverside King. The Saxons had previously bounced back to survive elimination after losing 2 sets in a row earlier in the playoffs. They lose the first 2 in this one and then force King to a 30-28 third set that puts a kibosh on an amazing season. Sabrin Roberts has 17 kills and 2 blocks. 2 of those kills key late in the third set, facing match point to tie the game at 25 and again at 28, but it wasn't quite enough to extend the girls' season. Saxons will say goodbye to setter Sadie Fraker and libero Miranda Armijo, as well as some other key players. But this team looking solid heading into 2013. Their star, Roberts, she'll be back for the Pioneer League co-champs along with some others that contributed to this season's success. So congrats to the North Saxons for an exciting run through 2012. Saxons rivals South High, the only top 4 seed in the Division II AA playoffs to survive the semifinals. Second trip to the semis in a row for the Spartans. They edged Santiago Corona in 5 sets, dropping the third and fourth, putting them in a do-or-die scenario before winning 15-10 in the 5th. Erica Easley has 21 kills and 5 blocks, leading South to a matchup against Los Osos in that semifinal match. South's never faced off against Los Osos, but Coach Robert Kusch made sure to point out that the team did watch them in the Redondo tournament this season, and that, well, hey, they placed higher than them. So a little boost of confidence, always good to keep in your back pocket this deep in the playoffs. And finally, we've got those Knights. Bria Green brings her A game as usual and leads the Knights past Canyon of Anaheim. You can never be surprised by a huge evening from this young lady. Green leads everybody in the match with 30 kills and 16 digs. Ashley Murray missed almost 2 months of the season due to a stress fracture in her shin. She's been back in action for the playoffs, making the Bishop squad even deeper behind their star player. Semifinals berth marks the deepest the Knights have been into the CIF playoffs since making it this far in 2009. That semis matchup going to be at home against San Juan Hills. Both teams have their semis matchups this week with the possible finals in their respective brackets going on over the weekend. So you have to check us out next week if you want to see how it all plays out, because we're actually going to be at both of those semifinal games. All right, you know we're going to have the rest of the playoffs covered, but if there's anything else you're waiting to see before we dive right into winter sports, be sure to reach out, let us know. You can call the show at 310-618-5762 or email us at the SportsDesk at torranceca.gov. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Like I said, we got a little more playoffs next week, so you're going to make sure you have to come right back. We'll see you next time.